Thanks for joining us on the latest episode of Music That Left Its Mark, where we talk about music that matters to people. Today I'm joined by local musician James Maxwell. Maxie, how are you?
Hello.
All right?
I'm grand.
Good. So you are, if I've got this right, you are a guitarist and vocals in Void Below.
Yeah, Void Below is a Lovecraftian themed death metal band from Whitehaven.
Fantastic. Death metal. That was one of my questions. I was going to ask how you would categorize that genre.
Yeah, death metal's like one of the most extreme forms of metal. Like bands like Morbid Angel, Death, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Immolation, all sorts of bands. We made it start like as a subgenre from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just spawned a whole wave of bands for the last 30 odd years. Well, maybe less than 30 years. But yeah, so there's technical death metal, brutal slam, black and death metal. Sorry, my daughter's just come home. Black and death metal, there's all sorts, but we have a mixture of technical and old school elements, but with a modern twist, modern flavour.
Cool. Death metal's a place I've never really ventured into much. I am, rock and metal is my bread and butter. But I've never, so I'm aware of it, and obviously just looking at your list, there was one or two bands on there I thought I know their stuff, sort of thing. So I have kind of dabbled, but we'll get into them in a minute. So
yeah,
why death metal for you? What's the?
I've always been into like extreme music, and I've been in various bands over the years. I've done like hardcore bands, like I've done death metal bands. I've done like melodic hardcore bands. I've done like heavy hardcore bands. There's a lot of like mosh parts, breakdown parts, that kind of thing. But I've never done a death metal band in the way I would want to do a death metal band. So because I've always loved the genre, I've always been a big fan of the bands in the genre. It's just more of a case of it's just extreme, it's technical, and because I've always admired like the musicianship, I've always wanted to do a band like that. So for me, death metal was. And the thing is with death metal as well, you can do anything with it. You really, really can. It's like there's no limits with it. Some people say there's a bit of a blueprint, but there isn't. You can do what you want with it, and it'll still sound extreme and make it more refreshing, or you can make it as old school as you want, but have that, like I say, like refreshing modern sound. So when I formed the band, I wanted to like do that.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I've had a little bit of a nose, and I have had a listen to some of your stuff.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it sounds tight. I will say that for you.
Cheers.
It sounds really good. Excuse me. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of your choices then. So,
all right.
The first song you've picked is "I'm Broken" by Pantera. So,
oh yeah.
What are them, mate?
Yeah, well, when I was younger and I was getting into metal, I started off listening to like bands like Limp Bizkit, Deftones. Huge Limp Bizkit fan, love them. And I met a friend at school, and I'm still friends with him now, which is it's great. But he lives in Australia, and he was like, "Have you ever heard of Pantera?" I was like, "No." So he like lent me a CD, and then I literally got home from school that day. And when MTV2 was about and would rotate extreme bands like at certain times, Pantera "I'm Broken" came on, the actual video. I was like, oh, this is Pantera, I'm going to watch this. And I was just hooked from then on. And I'm still a Pantera fan now, but I was hooked. And just the groove, the riff, how heavy it sounded, their attitude, everything about it just spoke to me. I was like, man, I want to be in a band like that one day. So, I absolutely love them. And "I'm Broken" for me was the song that got me into Pantera. And Dan McDonald's playing, Phil Anselmo as the front man. Everything was just ticked all the boxes for me. I wanted to be in a band, or what I wanted to do musically or how I wanted a band to look and be, and just that whole no bullshit attitude, that kind of thing.
Cool, yeah. So that was a song that kind of inspired you to get to where you are today. Then that's
Yeah, I played guitar a little bit at that time, and then I just become more obsessed because of Dimebag Darrell's playing and just the things he could do on a guitar. I was just like, I want to do that. So I do my best to try and rip it off poorly. I wasn't the best at ripping it off. I do like a poor version of it, but I was happy and I was just like, man, that sounds class. So then as time went on, I just tried better and better, and obviously the internet became more widely available. So I learned about how he done his tricks and sounds and amp tones, pedal. The rest is history, but it was just a whole gateway for me as a player. But then I became more of the frontman role later on. So that's where the Phil Anselmo attitude came into it. You know, I kind of copied him a bit, but who didn't at the time? Who didn't?
well, yeah. I mean, like, what does it say? Borrowed with pride, mate. Yeah?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, cool, brilliant. So that's a good place to start. So your second choice of song, "God of Emptiness," Morbid Angel.
Oh, Morbid Angel, all-time faves. I remember a friend introduced me to Morbid Angel. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago. He introduced me, and he would always wear the t-shirts. I was like, "Oh, who's that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll put him on for you." So he played me "God of Emptiness," and it was the Beavis and Butthead Headbangers Ball episode where they're like taking the mick out of it, but the song was phenomenal. I was just like, I've never heard an extreme band sound like they did, and had those like atmospheric elements into it. And even though Beavis and Butthead mocked it, but the song was just so strong. I was just like, yeah, I need to get into that band. So therefore, I got into them. And when it comes on, like just the first main riff, it's just crushing. It just sounds monstrous, even though it was like in the early '90s, and like guitar tones and production is a whole different level now. But for the time, it was just mind-blowingly good. And I think it was like 2003. I kind of like was introduced. I was like, "What is that guitar?" It's just like dum dum. And I'm not like it just crushed in my ears when I heard it through his speakers, and watched the Beavis and Butthead episode. I was like, "That's unreal." So another big favourite. Like every time it comes on, I can't help but sing along to it.
So I often think, as I because music's been a massive part of my life, all of my life, and although I've got kind of genres that I listen, I like say rock and kind of heavy rock, and
Yeah,
metal, is my main thing. I listen to other stuff all the time, and when you dip into some of this kind of stuff, like you say, especially from the 90s and stuff, and I always think that a lot of it kind of gets overlooked. Well, you
it
say about
does.
the production, the quality, the craftsmanship, the musicianship from the music, the musicians that make up these bands. And when you see these lists of, the best guitar players, in the world, they're all
Yeah.
these populist people. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they're all
Well, yeah,
they're all the names you expect to see. Dave Gilmour and
yeah. Like Jimi Hendrix, Robert,
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimmy Page, yada yada. Yeah, like that's the thing with extreme metal. The guitar players and musicians, like they're so, in my opinion, this is my opinion, are so next level, but they don't get a look in because the music plays extreme. But they're doing stuff on a guitar or drums or bass or whatever that's so intricate and so the thought process
Yeah,
that goes into making those songs is it's not just your typical blues lick, or it's not your typical like major scale or anything like that. They're looking at it from completely out of the box, and they don't tend to. I mean, Trey Hazagoff, who is the pinnacle writer, riffer, main guitar player of Morbid Angel. In my opinion, he's like the Eddie Van Halen of death metal. The stuff the guy can do on guitar is absolutely next level, but the mainstream doesn't see that because it's extreme music. But if you ever watch the guy on the guitar, it's mind-boggling. Like some of the things he can do, and his technique is just it's unreal,
and I
crazy
think
unreal.
I think that line that they draw as well, and it's a kind of bit of musical eliteness, a bit of music snobbery. That line they draw is quite high as well, because I mean, it's like my favourite band, for example, my favourite two bands, Whitesnake and Def Leppard.
Good choices.
You never see names like Steve Clark or Vivian Campbell or Phil Collin or Adrian Vandenberg or John Sykes on those lists either, and
Yeah,
they were musical geniuses through the 80s and the 90s and the early 90s. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously,
yeah,
Def Leppard, still massive in the US today, probably outstripping bands like, big bands like Rush and the likes in terms of numbers, still filling stadiums.
oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Don't get that recognition.
yeah. Like Phil Collins is absolutely unreal guitarist. It is Phil Collins from Def Leppard, did he? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's unreal, and like I watch a lot of guitar rig videos. Like I don't care who it is, I'll happily watch it. And I watch Phil Collins and just like his attitude towards sound and certain guitars do certain things. And I like that because he's a man who just doesn't get one guitar. He's just like he knows what he's doing with a certain one does a certain sound, and he's absolutely unreal on it. And it's the same with you just mentioned him. The guy from Whitesnake? You just mentioned him.
John Sykes, Vandenberg.
Yeah. Johnson and Vanderberg, they're absolutely unreal players. To compete with a guy like Steve Vai, who played in Whitesnake, you have to be next level. You can't just rattle out a blues scale or rattle out, like I say, like a major pentatonic or something. Do you know what I mean? You can't do stuff like that with those players. You have to be a certain level of a musician to. I mean, Steve Vai he's like an alien, he's otherworldly, and I love Steve Vai. I could watch him all day, but his own music, his technique resonates with me, but some of his music doesn't. Because some of it I can't get into. It's that weird. But when you watch him play with bands like Whitesnake or like he did with Frank Zappa, it's unbelievable, and you have to be that type of caliber there. John Sykes, Adrian Vanderbilt, like you say, names some greats there. It's like Warren DeMartini from Rat. He doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. That guy wrote riffs and solos that nobody can still play note for note today because of his technique. I mean, somebody probably does. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like stating facts here, but the idea of like he was just next level. Like Gary Holt from Exodus Slayer, he said they used to sneak into rat shows just to watch Warren DeMartini because he was that good of a player because they liked his playing and he could shred. He's unreal.
Yeah, and I mean, like you say, because they live in this kind of dark, shadowy corner of music.
Yeah,
they just don't get the spotlight shined on them like this list of best guitarists in the world.
Yeah, it's just the typical ones that you always get, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't deny people like Clapton and they are.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Talented, but there are other people out there as talented. I think they just don't make the list for because they haven't got that popular vote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like like Chuck Schuldiner, like from a band called Death, they were like a legendary death metal band. Like they call Chuck Schuldiner the godfather of death metal because he invented the blueprints as such. And like he was doing stuff and playing, and he wasn't like even admits he wasn't like a super flash player. But the stuff he did was innovative. He did stuff that nobody else would do. Like even though it was like simple, he did have whammy bars. He didn't use a lot of effects. He had a very simple guitar rig, and the guy just like he was very innovative. Every Death album was different. You had different musicians come in. They would have their flair, and that's what it's about. Is like creating music that lasts forever because you're keeping it fresh, you're updating it. You don't want to copy the last album. There's a lot of bands these days will go, again, my opinion, will go, oh, that first album did well, so we'll do that again. But what's the point? My band, we're not like huge or anything, we're just a bunch of local lads, but we still try and keep it fresh. We still have different ideas. We try to throw different things in the mix. Like we've even, right now, an album that's going to come out next year when we record it, we've even used 7 strings on a few songs for that lower tone, that darker sound. We're trying to up our game as well as upping our music's game by becoming better players, better musicians, stuff like that. So it's just something like I like to see bands do more of rather than just stay in their comfort zone. Step
Yeah,
outside the zone, do something that you wouldn't normally do. I'm not saying like be a death metal band and start singing about fluffy kittens and unicorns rather than gore or satanic stuff or whatever. Like whatever, it's whatever you're into. I'm just saying like as a musician, just push that little bit better. Push that, not better. That's the wrong word. Push yourself a bit more. Do something more like something you wouldn't regularly do, even if it's just a little bit. It's still like when you listen to it, you go, oh wow, I didn't know they could do that. Oh wow, that's a nice section. Oh, they've used a clean section there. There's no just stuff like that makes it interesting.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get that. I do.
Well, for me as a listener, it does.
Yeah. You mentioned death in there,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So your third choice on the list, Crystal Mountain.
Ah, classic, classic. I was in a band in my late 20s, early teens. I'm getting jumbled up here. Late teens, early 20s. Um, and another friend, he introduced me to Death, and I was like, I've never heard of him. And at the time, the lads were saying, "Oh, steal this song for us a cover." So I was like, "What's that?" They said, "It's Crystal Mountain." And they played me, and I was like, "What is that?" And it just blew me away. The melodies, the structure, it caught me off guard because I'd never heard a death metal band sound like Death did at the time. So this is like 2003, 2004, we're talking. And I went to my local market stall and said to if anyone from Whitehaven's into metal, if you haven't been to Tony's market stall in the early 2000s and bought albums off him, I just don't know where you would get them from at the time. This was like when we did have Virgin Megastore, stuff like that. Well, they did in Carlisle, just not Whitehaven. That was like Whitehaven, Tony's store was the main place you would buy your metal CDs, your DVDs, you would order stuff in for you, you'd get imports. But anyway, I thought, oh, do you have this? He was like, oh, probably if I have a copy. It's like, how much is that? It's like £6. I was like, yes, I'll have it. And like, even though £6 to me was a lot of money because it didn't really work, I bought it and then put it on my CD player, and it just blew me away again. So it's just like you found your new favorite thing, and it just absolutely mind-boggling me how good it was. And then I went back to the lads about it. I was like, yeah, we'll do that cover. It'd be incredible. But then it was just hard playing it because it was quite technical in parts. So, but I was hooked instantly. So I literally bought the back catalogue straight away, which is a lot of albums. And it's just the guitar work. It just absolutely floored me. Floored me. Just the lead playing, the intricacies, just everything, and like even the little solo bits. Like even when I still hear it now, I still get chills down my spine. And that was like 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And I listen to it now in the car, and like I can't help but like inside Crystal Mountain. You know what I mean? I can't help but like get into it. And it's everyone has them songs that resonate with them for the rest of their life, and that's 100% one of them.
And that's what this podcast's all about, mate. It's about talking about those songs that are just whatever it is, however deep or shallow the meaning is. It's just something.
Oh, absolutely.
That stuff that makes the hairs stand on the back of your neck stand up.
Well, yeah, it's like what I was saying about Morbid Angel. God of Emptiness. There's like a section that goes "Bow to me, faith," and I can't help if I'm, especially when we're in a club or something, or a pub when it comes on, I put my arms down like I'm like the Antichrist singing that because it's just epic. Like it's the same crack with that as well. Like I listen to that and I just feel pumped after listening to it. Like I do it.
And that's what music's supposed to do to you, mate, isn't it? It's supposed to.
Oh, absolutely.
Brilliant.
If you don't if that's a thing I find like because as a hobby of mine, I'm always looking for like the next band or obscure bands or something refreshing. I'm always looking at label pages. I'm looking at can't talk tonight. Artist rosters. Looking at all of the bands that like they belong to a label, and like I look at the names or I look how they look, and which is all like I think, oh, they look cool. What's the band called? Oh, I'll check them out. Like I'll do that, and I'll listen. If it doesn't gel with me straight away, it doesn't gel with me. Like that's what I'll do. I'm an avid hunter of new music all the time. The CD collection's huge, massive. Because I love
Yeah,
it. It's just that sharing, like someone said, "I've checked that band out." I'm like, no, check it out. And vice versa. It's like spreading the good faith of like metal.
somebody sent me an image, like a meme, if you will, on Facebook, and it said, "Don't never stop sharing your old music because it's new to somebody else."
Yeah,
And
exactly. I totally agree with that.
really like that. I thought that, yeah, that's absolutely right, because I have a friend who's big well, he's into all kinds of rock and metal, and he's always dragging me up to the old fire station in Carlisle or the Brickyard or wherever, and I've seen more kind of metal, heavy rock bands in the last kind of 3 years
Yeah,
than I had in like 30 years before. But bands I'd never heard of, never would never probably never popped up on my radar. But I've had some really good nights. I've heard some cracking bands there, and you think, and I've kind of I like to build a playlist, and I
yeah,
build a
absolutely.
playlist and stuff, and I've got some stuff on there, and put it on in the car, and people are like, who's that? That's different. I like that. That's think it's not new.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's not new, but it's new to me, so it's new to somebody else. So yeah, never stop sharing.
yeah. It's like I went to Damnation Fest last year, and like a band I love called Dragged in the Sunlight. They're like an extreme black and death metal, but it's hard to put a tag in them because they're a good mix of stuff. But like I said to the lads in my band, you need to check them out. They're incredible. 'Cause I've seen them live before, and they checked them out and they watched them. They were just like, there's no headbanging. You just stood, you hypnotized by them because it's just a full on stage show. Screens, it's just mind blowing. As I told you, and like I get a kick out of it if they enjoy. I'm like, told you they were good. Like, and that's what it's about. It's like I like seeing my friends happy with a recommendation I give them, or they come to me with a recommendation, and they're chuffed I've got into them because of what they've recommended. And that's what it's about. It's like sharing that good wealth.
Yeah, there's nothing better. When I was young, when I was very young, I used to babysit for two young lads, Mark and Andrew, and they moved away over time, and one thing and another. And Mark lives down Liverpool way, I think now. Anyway, back in the mid noughties, he came back up for a while, and he worked for me. I used to have a pub, and he worked for me. And we were just talking one day, and he says, "Hey," he says, "Def Leppard are touring this year." And I looked at him. He's 15 years younger than me or whatever. And I looked at him and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I listen to Def Leppard all the time now, and it's your fault because that's all you ever listen to." I was like, So we ended up going to see them in Sheffield together, which
Oh,
was
fantastic.
good crack. It was good, but yeah, that feeling of giving somebody something that they take with them through life, in the form of music is fantastic. And
Yeah.
again, he's got a story to tell about why he likes that song or that band, and I love that. I love the relationship.
Yeah, it's how you intertwine things. It's like in that old band I was talking about when I got into Death and Morbid Angel. The guys in that, two of the guys in that band were a lot older than me. So my good friend Justin, he used to like, James, check out this band. James, check out it. Oh, if you like that, you like that. And I used to like go to his house and sell it, and like I come home with like loads of CDs that I bought it off him, and then return them and then buy them, buy them myself. So he had his copies back. Then I had my own copies, but it's people like that you need in like our kind of like genre of metal rock that they'll show you the good stuff. They'll show you the stuff they buzzed about when they were like 18, 19 or younger.
Yeah,
Like it's like I've got friends that went to Brooks to buy Metallica, Master of the Puppets when it first came out, and hearing them talk about that story and their excitement about getting like my friend Brian was talking about where it was the old co-op in Whitehaven, and he only told me the story about a week or so ago in the pub, and I thought it was a great story. How him and his friends saw, and I made him picture this, but there was only one, so they both legged it up, started borrowing money off their parents to go down and get it. I need £10. What you need £10? I really need £10 to buy this vinyl, and then they're on the bus. And they could see each other on the bus on the way together and running to Co-op to buy it. And Brian got it, and they were like, "Oh, it was like a competition." But it's the great stories about music and like how how they got into bands, how their excitement, and I love hearing that stuff because it makes me want to carry on playing music. It makes me want to carry on looking for music. So you can never get bored with music.
No,
You can't because there's so much. So much out there that you could go through 20 bands and find one that's the diamond, and that's what it's about. Find that little diamond in a rough, and then you're like, yeah, and you're the guy who'll go, here, lassies, check this band out, and they're like, oh my god, it's amazing. You're like, yay, winner.
yeah,
And I love it. I love hearing the old stories about records and where they first got the first LP. I love all that because it's interesting. When did you get into metal? When did you get into rock? Well, I was on the radio and I listened to Sabbath. You know, my auntie was at the Sabbath show in working to Carnegie, and that blew my mind because she's a soul. She listens to Northern Soul and soul music because Sabbath were the big band in the 70s.
yeah.
Yeah, so they went, and that was the night they changed the name from Earth to Black Sabbath. She was present, and it blew my mind. I was like, why have you never told me this before?
Yeah, it's amazing. It is, and you're right. It's I can, and that is the core of why I started this podcast, because when I think back through my life, every kind of point in my life is punctuated with music.
Yeah, same here.
Everything I can remember, like you're saying about how we got into rock. I worked with a guy when I first left school. I got a summer job in a factory, and he was a bit older than me, and he used to drive me to work because he had a car. And we were talking about, and it must have been 88, and I'd just discovered Def Leppard. Hysteria had just come out. That was all I was listening to was Hysteria and 1987, Whitesnake, and I'm older than you, mate. He made me a mixtape.
Oh, tapes.
And I'll never forget that mixtape because it had some early Def Leppard on it, some early Whitesnake. There was Tesla, Fastway, Cheap Trick. There was all sorts on it, and like you say, I listened to it, and there was stuff on there I picked up on, and I went back and I back catalogued all the Def Leppard, all the old Whitesnake,
Yeah.
and then from Whitesnake you make the jump to Rainbow, to Purple, to Dio, and before you know it, you've gone down this. I remember I used to have a poster on my wall, the Rock Family Tree, where all the bands joined who shared guitar players, and Don.
Oh yeah.
Who played keyboard in Purple, and MSG, and also, and you just find yourself in this rabbit hole.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you sometimes you feel like you need to for your laugh because you're telling people band names. They're like, oh, I remember like I used to get the CD, like you'd look at the funk section. So like the funk section would be a list of bands. We'd like the funk such and such and such. I'd be like, oh, well, if they're mates with them, they must be good. So then I would go and check out the bands from the names. I'd be like, yeah, they're class. I'll get this. Oh no, they don't sound like my company. You know what I mean? That's how I'd do it. Or I'd look at like the pictures of them in like the promo pictures, or when I stood there dead serious, like we're in a band. I'd see what t-shirts they're wearing, and that's how I got into a band called Integrity because Mike D'Antonio from Killswitch Engage, he was wearing Integrity shirts, and I was like, well, they must be good if he likes them. So then I went to Silica Discs with my free bus pass from college and skived a lesson. So I'll go look at records instead of going to lesson. And I found they had an Integrity CD for £6 or £7. I was like, oh, is that really £7? He's like, yeah. The boy put on the bus. I was like hooked. I was like, oh, this is great. But that's what I mean. It's like you remember these things, and you remember you get excitement about. I've discovered a new band. Me and my friend Mike used to say, remember, is it Music Zone in Carlisle, the CD shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, really cheap. They used to have a lot of like special days with like a record label have so many out, and they would like put them all out in the metal section. So it's Metal Blade Day or Earache Records Day. I mean, Mike ended up being in a band together, and we used to go do random buy. So what we used to do is get some money, go to that shop, look through before we went to practice, and go, yeah, that album cover's pretty cool. Should we buy it and see what it's like? Because it was like £6. I thought I could take a risk on £6. And then we were like, oh, wow, this is amazing, And we did that with a band called Crowpath, and we still talk about it and laugh about it today. Do you remember that Crowpath CD? Ah, yeah. and we didn't even listen to it. We got to practice, we put it on, and it was one of the heaviest things we'd ever heard. Like a Swedish like grindcore sludge band. It was mental, and I still listen to them now because they're excellent and stuff like that. It's like memories, and even if you like listen to them or they pop up on your YouTube playlist, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that band, and then you get that nice memory again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's that link, and that it's really important, and that's why I love sharing stories with people. I love these cracks. And that's all that's all these podcasts are. They're just cracks with people, and
Yeah.
it's great to talk to people who've got passion about music, whether we share taste or we don't, or whatever. It's just great to hear what other people are really into.
Yeah, absolutely. Like everyone's allowed to like what they like. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're gonna be like, oh, don't you know? No. If you like music, you like everything. You'll give anything a go. Like that's what I mean. That's why like the hobby of mine is excuse me, it's like finding the most obscure or something nobody's ever heard of, or up and coming bands, or even something that was released 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, and like I think, well, I've never heard that. I'll try it, and then I'll see if I can get the. And I like the hunt for the CD. Like I'm on Discogs, I'm on eBay, I'm on Vinted, and I'm hunting for it. And if I get a copy, like an original press or a reissue, I'm like even more buzzing because it's like the holy grail. You know what I mean? So I like that. I like that. I like doing that. If we get an original copy, or like I got a copy of what was it? Ball Throw Around the Chaos. Now I had the reissue, but the original press you couldn't get for love of money, or you spent a lot of money to buy one. And it's a Warhammer 40,000 cover on the original one, which is like the Crimson Fist Finding Orcs. If you know your Warhammer, you know what I'm going on about. Yeah. And then this guy on eBay for 20 quid. I was like, is that really 20 quid? That's the cheapest one I've ever seen. And it was immaculate. It still had the shrink wrap and the sticker on it. So I said, this guy's bought this and kept it. So I was like, I'll give him 20 quid. No bother. I was no way I was going to best offering, because I thought, this guy's well looked after this. And I appreciate that he's done that for me to buy it. So I bought it and I got it, and it's still upstairs in my collection. And I was like, that was a meant to be buy. So I was looking for it, and there it was, 20 quid. And they go for daft money, like maybe 50, 60, maybe more, depending.
It's great when the universe conspires in your favour, isn't it?
Well, I wish it happened a lot more.
Don't we all, mate? Don't we all?
Of course we do. Still haven't won lottery, like, so.
You and me both. Getting back to your choices. Cold Hate Warm Blood was choice number 4.
Oh, Cryptopsy.
Yeah.
And that's again another tale. Another friend of mine. I was in another mic. I was in the same band with the other mic. We used to go to random CD grab. And he had this tattoo on his arm of this like tribal bat. And I was like, who's that? And he was like, oh, it's Cryptopsy. Have you never heard of it? I was like, no. So then same track again. Lent me some CDs. Took them home, listening back on the train. I didn't drive then. So used to get the train to Carlisle to practice. And listen, I was like, why have I never heard this band before? Why has never heard it show me? And blah, blah, blah. Then week after, you see these back. Amazon, bye. That was a bit of my wages gone, but it was worth it. And I finally got to see them this year in May of this year. It only took 20 years, but I finally got to see them, so blew me away. They didn't play that song, though, which was annoying. But they played everything else that I liked, so it was excellent night. So I was over the moon.
Yeah, very good. You often find when you go and see bands live, though, they never play your favourite song, because if you're
no, of course they don't.
If you're like me, my favourite songs of bands are usually just a bit left field of the mainstream stuff.
Yeah,
I like the album stuff or the B-side stuff.
But that's the thing. I don't think Cold Hate Warm Blood was a. I don't know if it was a single attack. It was so long ago. I couldn't remember. I mean, anyone couldn't correct me on that. But it's just because it starts off with a nice like Spanishy guitar, and then goes into this ridiculously heavy riff. I was just like, that just took me by surprise completely. I was just like, I listened to the first, I was like, yeah, that was really good. And then it's like a bass and like the drum trigger goes tiggy tiggy tiggy, and he goes doodle doodle doodle. I was just like, that's beautiful. I've never heard that in an extreme death metal band before. And then the riff just kicks right in. I was like, whoa. And the guy's vocals, I was just like, oh my God, did not expect that at all. But it's that undertone of melody with it as well. And I was just like, these are incredible, but incredibly technical as well. Their drummer, Flormonier, I don't know how you pronounce it, it's French Canadian, but what a drummer. Like, I never heard drums played like that before. So I listened to him, and he just blew, but again, another band just blew my mind. And I've been a fan ever since. Like, I go back to them an awful lot, all the time, actually. I think I maybe listen to Cryptopsy a couple of times a week, actually, when I'm at work or at home or if I'm wandering around, or like I'm sticking a new album on, or I'll put that song on, or I'll put the live version of it on. It's just, there's bands that you always go back to, like you say. Like, I can find a new band and then 10 minutes later I listen to something like Morbid Angel again or Death, and just keep a nice mix, that kind of thing.
That's why I love my playlists, and and something that me and my wife do. We build playlists when we're going on like road trips and road journeys.
Yeah, I
And
do.
they can be up. They're just so random. The stuff that's on them, sometimes just all over the place. But
Absolutely.
it's just like you say. When people ask me about, often when people ask me about my music taste, I tend not to hang my hat, even though I have got a genre I lean into. I like what I like.
Yeah,
And I think that's probably a good way to be for most people. I think most people are probably like that anyway, in reality.
yeah. I think we are. I mean, I like what I like. I always have. I've never been one to be like, oh, I won't listen to that because they said it's crap. I'll listen to it because I want to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't. Everyone's obviously in the metal world. I don't. If you haven't had an argument about music or a heated debate about what's good or not, then where have you been? Because I think I've had many an argument with people, or well, I would say argument, heated debate about what's better and what's good. Because but that's the thing. Variety is the spice of life. Not everyone's like gatekeeping and saying, "Oh, that's not metal. Oh, that's not rock." A lot of my friends are very like, they like what they like, I like what I like. That's the way it is. Like my playlist will go from Hey Eternal to Behemoth, or then it'll go to Public Enemy, hip hop group. Then it'll be
Yeah,
Wu Tang Clan. Then it'll be the Smiths. I love the Smiths. You know,
yeah,
and it's having that eclectic taste makes you a fan of music. I'm trying to word this right. I mean, like, I think you appreciate music more if you don't limit yourself. See what I mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah,
I went with my mum and dad to watch Earth, Wind and Fire, one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Phenomenal. Because I grew up with that. My dad would put Earth, Wind and Fire on all the time in the car. Style Council with Paul Weller, The Jam, with George Benson, Diana Ross, The Supremes. Then you have soul music, Luther Vandross, love Luther Vandross. Um, all them type of bands, like soul bands and a group and all that. And I still love them now. Hall and Oates. Who else is there? You keep going. But that's what I grew up with, and I
you're
still listen to
talking
them
my
songs now.
language. You're talking my language because again, but again, so I suppose I have a sister 5 years older than me. So I was obviously growing up in the 70s and the 80s. It was bands like, I mean, started with bands like Shawadi Waddy, and the basic
Shuddy
version.
Wuddy.
And the
Under the
basic
moon of love.
yeah. But then then obviously, my sister was right at the front end. By default, so was I with bands like Depeche Mode.
Yeah, class. I love Depeche Mode.
But still a big Depeche Mode fan. For a long time, I was a closet Duran Duran fan, but I'm quite open and out about it now.
Hey, can't be a bit Duran Duran.
And so obviously still follow them. But then the flip side, I've always had a love for Elton. You know,
Elton John.
particularly his early stuff. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is a phenomenal piece of work just from front to back. It's one of those albums very few albums, I think, but it's one of those albums, that and Misplaced Childhood by Marillion, are two albums that stand out for me that you've got to listen to front to back in track order.
Yeah.
They don't work on shuffle. Yeah, and so yeah, my taste is like all over the place.
Yeah, so, well, that's the same with me. Like, it was one of my cousins. He was heavy into the hip hop, so like, Eric B and Rakim, Africa Bombata, Public Enemy, Wu Tang, and they were all pumping out of his bedroom, and I'm like 8-year-old in my auntie's house going, "What's that?" It's exposing yourself to the types of music, and we used to get like hand-me-downs off them with kids. So I'd be walking around school with a Public Enemy top, and I'm not having a clue what I was wearing, but it felt dead cool. That kind of thing, like, and like, don't believe the hype. Like, that was the only song I knew at the time. Or Bring the Noise, like they did with Anthrax. And that's what I mean. It's like immersing yourself. And so I've always been surrounded by music, and like my family's always danced in, like light music and like certain types of like Michael McDonald. He's great. He's so many hip hop artists have sampled his music. Like is it Warren G? Regulators. That's Keep Forgetting Not in Love Anymore. That's a sample for I think it is. And then you've got yeah. Regulate. Down to the east side, ooh, I like your style. That kind of Dave Dog.
I've got that on a regular playlist.
Yeah, great song. But it's taken from the Michael McDonald song.
Yep.
And then he's got that Yamo B then stuff he did with the Doobie Brothers. All that kind of stuff's brilliant. And like they're like golden era. You'll never get artists like that again. Like I enjoy Prince. Like when Doves Cry and Little Red Corvette, and like I listen to that. If I don't have metal on, I've got iHeart. He's on the radio in the car. I'm not joking. The kids are going mad to put Kiss on. I'm like, hang on, just wait for this Michael McDonald song to finish. I'll put it on.
Kiss the band or Kiss the radio station?
No, I Kiss the radio, but I do like Kiss the band as well. I do like Cold Gene and Crazy Nights. They're all great songs. So it's having that, like, it's being eclectic, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. And I feel as if you limit yourself to one genre, then you're not really appreciating a wider range of music. You're allowed to like what you like, as long as it's not like offensive or it's going to upset anybody.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of music out there that offends. Well, I don't know. Music's art, isn't it? And art should make you feel something. It should. It should make you feel something. Whether that's good or bad.
Music's supposed to resonate with you. Like when I hear a Hall & Oates song, it takes me back to when my dad used to drive us to Newquay to go on holiday. He'd have the Hall & Oates, she's in, what is it? I'm trying to remember the song. Oh, here she comes, watch out, for she'll choose you up. She's a man eater. I gotta remember that. And it takes me back being in the car, sitting in the back of a Rover. You can't wait to get to Newquay, singing my head off to that. 8-9-year-old.
Brilliant. And this is brilliant. Actually, brilliant memories. It really is brilliant stuff. Your last choice on your list.
Oh yeah.
So this Hate Eternal, Powers That Be.
Oh, that's another. My friend that lives in Sanofi, he made a playlist for the 3 Tons Jukebox many moons ago. Again, another 20-year-old story. And I was like, talking about bands I was trying to get into, like, and he's like, have you heard of Eternal? I'll name it. Justin, he's called. Great bloke, one of my good friends. And he introduced me to so much music in me, like late teens, early 20s. And Hate Eternal, the song called Powers That Be. And it's just when it comes on, it's the boo doo doo, and the drums kick in. Derek Roddy playing the drums, phenomenal drummer, and just the whole structure of the song. I never heard again at the time. I never heard anything like it. It was so dissonant and so fast, but so proficient. It just blew me away. And then when I found out about the band, the members, what bands they've been, and I was like, I need to get that CD. So it's called King of All Kings is the album. And I've obviously got the T-shirt, the vinyl, and it's just one of them CDs I can always go back to and get inspired by. It still sounds fresh as it does today than it did I think it was 2002, 2003 it was released. Not sure on that. I got into it in 2003, so it could be 2002, I'm not sure when it was released, but it still sounds fresh today. And again, it was another band me and my friends are really into, and I got to see them just before the pandemic, and they were just a three-piece. So Eric Rutan's the main guy. He was in Morbid Angel for a while as well, one of my all-time favourites. And I got to see them live, and for a three-piece band, it sounded like there was 10 of them, because the sound sounded so huge, and it's just how the guy plays guitar, his attitude to playing, his attitude to sound. Eddie Rutan owns a recording studio called Manor Studios in Florida, and he records Cannibal Corpse. He's done for Morbid Angel, his old band. He's recorded some huge bands. Cannibal Corpse. He's now in Cannibal Corpse. He plays for them now. I think he's been in three odd years, maybe longer now. But the guy, he just inspires me as a player. His attitude towards music he seems very down to earth as well. Like, I briefly spoke to him at the show. He was spot on. Shook my hand, and I was like, never washing a hand again, because I thought, maybe pass on some riff power to me when I'm playing. It was just phenomenal, and like, I seem to be doing this a lot, like catching up with bands I've been into 20 years and finally seeing them. But it's the nostalgia for me. It's like, I remember the day I got that album and the excitement I had, and it all comes out of that gig. Because like when I see Cryptopsy, Suffocations, bands like that, I don't know. It's just with Hate Eternal, I can't quite put my finger on it, but every album is phenomenal to me. They're all different, but it makes me want to be a better player. It always makes me want to step up my game as a musician, as a frontman, as a vocalist, as a lyric writer, as a songwriter. And I think, like, I want to be like them. So I'll be honest, Void Below does take a lot of inspiration from Hate Eternal. It's one of the reasons it started with Void Below was because of Hate Eternal, Death, Morbid Angel, Neurosis, and a band called Primitive Man, and another band called Churchburn. Yes, they're called Churchburn. But they're fantastic. And when I was forming the band at the time, I was listening to a lot of that, and I thought, I want to do that. I was like, sod it. I really want to do something I want to do. And I found three guys on the same page. I couldn't believe my luck. They're brilliant lads. We're all really good friends. We all work together, and that's what they Hate Eternal do. Like, they all work together and how they arrange things, how they want things to go. It's not just Eric's band. It's a team effort, and Void Below is very much like on that same page with a very team effort. Like, we look at songs, we'll deconstruct songs, and like, don't get me wrong, I've never been in a Hate Eternal practice room, but when I've watched videos and Eric's like attitude towards writing, gear, tone, sounds, it just resonates with me and with my bandmates like quite a lot. Like, we're on that kind of level. I mean, not level musicians, because they're in the stratosphere, but we'd like to get there. But you know what I'm coming from. But
we've all got an aspiration, mate.
Well, yeah. I mean, like with Hate Eternal, like, just for me, because they're just, I don't know. It just really, like, every time I listen to a song, there's always something more I hear. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like, for example, I listen to that King of All Kings album, and I've listened to it for 20 years, so I can listen to it tomorrow, and there'll be something that like I haven't picked up on. Do you know what I mean? Like, there'll be something that I'm like, oh wow, I've never heard that. I've never caught that bit before. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, he's doing double triggers there. Oh, he's doing a gravity bass. I never noticed it was that. Like, as you become more musically in tune, you become more, when you listen to music, you tune yourself into that, and then you kind of know the techniques, the type of thing he's playing, and Hate Eternal do that for me. I can listen to bits and be like, like, oh wow, I didn't know I'd done that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just pick up on stuff more with I find I pick up more with them than I do a lot of extreme bands. I do with other bands, but more so with them because there's always something. It's very refreshing when I listen to them because everything they put out, even though it's like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years, you know what I mean? It still sounds like it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's why I love them because it's refreshing. It's the dissonant style that I like. The melodies, his lead playing just it cuts through that mix so well, and I can feel every note played. So yeah, that's it. Eternal.
I'll be honest with you, mate. The passion with which you speak about it's kind of it's making me want to go and have a listen and go and
Oh, it's
explore.
extreme, like, but listen to that album first, King of All Kings.
And
It's not,
I will go and explore because you do talk about it with such passion, and
thanks,
obviously
mate.
clearly inspires you and means a lot to you, and that's what drives people, you know.
Well, yeah. Music is inspiring. It doesn't matter what you listen to. Like, you can be pop music, you can be rap, anything you want. Somebody somewhere in the world will listen to something, whether it's like, like NWA, Straight Outta Compton, classic hip hop album. It's one of my all-time favorites. And people listen to them lyrics like they're from the streets. Stuff's really going on. This is what it's really like. Somebody will go, wow, I want to talk about that. Or like I say, I'll watch Trey as I got to do a solo on stage. Or even Eddie Van Halen, listen to Eruption, still blows my mind to this day. I'm like, I want to tap, and I want to do tap and finger tapping, like diddle diddle diddle, you know what I mean, like that. I want to do it like Eddie Van Halen, and it doesn't matter what you listen to. There's something you'll take away from anything you listen to, and you think, I want to put that into what I do, or I want to do something similar but make it my own. Like that Cryptops, they do. I've talked about this on the podcast, but I don't want to talk about it again. And they do a song called Carry and Shine, which is on an album called, oh my God, what is it called? Give me a minute. I'm on my phone, anyways. But they do it. What's it called? Do a reading. Anyway, I can't remember it. They'll come back to it. The song's called Carry and Shine. They do this like Floyd Rose whammy bar trick. Now, I was like, what's like? I remember being the friend of the band who introduced me to them. Who's again, he's sadly not with us as well. He was like, oh, it's this, and he showed me. I was like, is that it? But it sounds so technical.
Yeah.
But it's so simple. It's just getting it right. And he was sitting there going, and then we would take the piss out of it, going, oh, do that trick, and he would even just do it on the mic and go, dude, like I would just start laughing. And when I hear the part, I just start laughing because I remember the memories that went with it. And I was like, I want to be able to do that. So then I'm buying a guitar with a whammy bar and doing that. And now I can do it no problem over 20 years span. But again, it was just like something I'd never heard before, and it sat with me.
It's amazing to hear where all your inspiration comes from.
I remember the album's called Once Was Not. That was his called. Cryptops, Once Was Not.
Once Was Not.
I think it was Once Was Not. Have I just made that up?
I'm going to bring you back to Void Below.
Okay.
Before we wrap up.
Yeah.
If you were going to give me a couple of songs to give me the flavour of what they're really like, what would they be?
Oh, wow. Obviously I love them all. I would definitely check out the new one tomorrow, which is called Emperor Serpentine. That's going to be our first track off the new EP, which is called Previsum, which is Latin for the beginning. It's like they've been looking into the beginning. We recorded some demo tracks earlier this year as pre-production for our album. So we didn't want to just sit there with the tracks and just do nothing with them for a while. So we decided to put them out because we feel we're showcasing what we're doing next, how we've came on as musicians. So Emperor Serpentine is definitely one. I would definitely check out a new one. That'll be out 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow on Bandcamp, Spotify, YouTube and that. Another song would probably be The Pillars of Pestilence, which is off our last EP, which is called World Undone. That was the single off that EP. with a AI animated video, which is very swirly and very Lovecraftian. So if you're into that, check it out on our YouTube page. And I would probably go with our first self-titled EP is the Ancient Deity, which is about Cthulhu himself. It's a very, very heavy song. They were the songs I picked, but check them all out. They're all different. They're all us. They're all Void Below. Very style. Some slower, some fast, some really heavy. Some of it sludgy, a lot of groove. Just check them all out if you like it. Download that stuff. Check us out. Come see us live. But 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow, Emperor Serpentine will be out. Massively proud of that song. Really catchy, big catchy chorus. Very heavy, very dissonant as well.
Cool. Well, regular listeners will know that when I put this pod out, in the bio I always put links to the playlist to the songs you've chosen.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I will add your songs into the playlist as well. So
Fab, thank you. Appreciate that.
And I have just launched. I'm just getting going. I've launched my own YouTube channel.
Fab.
Well. So I'm going to start to share the pod on there, but obviously I can share some of that stuff on there as well, just to give it a bit of a push as well.
Thank you. Any shares appreciated.
It's just about sharing the music, sharing the love, mate.
Yeah, another quick plug. We're playing the Whitehaven Civic Hall on the 27th of September for Rock 24/7. It's a charity gig for our friend Phil, who passed away a couple of years ago, so it's dedicated to him. There's us, Severe Lacerations, Jetstream 2020, Drudge, Oven, 100 Handslap, Damaged Goods, Ego Trip, all local bands, all Cumbrian bands. It's for a really good cause. So get your tickets from the Solway Hall. Get along, let's pack the place out and showcase some Cumbrian metal and rock.
Excellent stuff.
Oh, there's a Sabbath tribute band headlining, Sabra Cadabra. So if you like your Sabbath, you'll like them.
Oh, I've got some crack about Sabra Cadabra, but I'll share with you that with you later.
I think I already know.
You probably do. It's quite common knowledge now.
Yeah, well, I found out secondhand, but anyway.
So I'm not sure how many of them will be there, but
yeah, we'll soon find out. You just better be there.
Absolutely. On that note, mate, I'll say thanks a lot, James.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure, mate, listening to the passion that clearly comes across from your music, and we will catch up on the other side, my friend.
We shall indeed, wherever the other side may be.
Take care, buddy. See you later.
You too, buddy. Take care now. Bye now.